gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. I am your host, Jeff, and tonight I am joined by half of the band Guiltless. Do you feel guilty about being here and the other guys aren't here?
They had the opportunity.
That was really bad, wasn't it? That was really shitty. It just popped in there, and I'm like, I'm going to go for it. So, so tonight we're joined by Josh Graham and Dan Hawkins, which, again, as I said, are half of the, dare I say, the SG word, the two words. Do I say the super group words? Or nah, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, it's
tiny
minuscule super group. Yeah.
Miniature super group.
But yeah, you guys are in the band Guiltless, which maybe Josh, why don't you tell everybody the other two members of the band, because they're in notable bands as well.
Yeah, Sascha Dunable plays in Intronaut, and Billy Graves plays in Generation of Vipers, and then we also used to play in A Storm of Light together.
Right. So you two guys, was Billy in Storm of Light too?
Yeah, and Dan was in on the last record, but Billy wasn't in on the last record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
we have a touring drummer on that one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So let's start there. Let's start with A Storm of Light. It's been quite a few years since you put an album out. I think we're going on 7 now. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so.
Somewhere in that range?
Yeah.
Close, yeah.
I assume that project is kind of done, or am I wrong about that?
Probably. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if for some reason, people started listening to it more.
Right.
It might
so
more kind of.
So it's a hiatus right now. It's kind of more than anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real reason to kill it. It's just kind of not really happening. So most likely it's done, but
yeah.
You guys have well, Josh, you have a lot of history. Dan, I don't know your history as much, so we'll ask a little bit about that. But I know you were with Storm of Light, and Josh, I go pretty far back with you. Obviously, I'm a Neurosis dude. I came in around Enemy of the Sun, somewhere in that range, and I've seen them nowhere near as many times as you, clearly, but I've seen them a lot. And when did you stop working with them, directly?
2012, and
okay,
yeah, it was kind of like a natural sort of evolution of A Storm of Light was touring a lot more then, and I wasn't super excited about touring, doing visuals. It's not, I don't know. It's okay.
It's not performing up on stage. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were kind of just getting a little antsy with having to work around the visuals, because they started kind of exploring doing the reunion sets the anniversary sets of
the anniversary. Yeah. Which I saw
and all this stuff. And
yeah.
So it actually just worked out kind of perfectly. We had a conversation and it was totally amicable, and that's obviously why Guiltless is on Neurot. And
sure,
yeah, and I've continued to work with those guys, just outside of the spotlight, I guess.
The Neurosis thing, yeah. I saw you with Red Sparowes back in man. First Unitarian Church in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
I remember was that 05 or 06 with Sparowes? Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Did we play with Daughters on that tour, or was it?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah. Somewhere around.
It was in a basement of a church.
Yeah, that place is awesome.
And it was this kind of wide, long stage, which was kind of weird. I talked to you after the show, just briefly. You wouldn't remember me. I didn't have this back then. I was a professional at one point in time. Now I'm just a professional fuck off. So I mean, just you know, but
yeah.
but yeah. And is that I know you left that project quite a long time ago. Is that project dead now, or is that in limbo too?
I don't know. I mean, it's been let's see, it's 2025, so it's like 18 years since I quit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you're out of that move.
Crazy dramatic. So I'm kind of like just within like the last couple of years, like exchanging like mellow emails.
Oh, okay, yeah. Was that more Cliff and the pedal steel guy, Greg?
Greg.
Was it more their project than anything else, I guess?
Actually, that project started with me and Jeff. Kashid started. ISIS moved to LA, and I was doing visuals for Neurosis, but I wasn't really playing. And like I talked to Jeff about playing, and Jeff was like, he's like, I want to do something, but I want to do something like Mogwai. So I was like, okay. So I kind of was like pushing like my playing like to do that, and then we got then we brought in Cliff, and then we brought in Greg, and then we brought in Dana, who was Mike Gallagher's girlfriend. And,
right.
So that's the first record, and then Jeff he didn't have enough time with ISIS, and so he left, and then I ended up leaving, like just because I wasn't super excited about the format of it. Like I obviously clearly with Guiltless and A Storm of Light wanted to do heavier stuff. So
yeah, right. Yeah, and last thing on the history, and then Dan, I'll come to you for one sec here. I was looking through your bio, Josh, and were you involved with Mike with MGR too?
Yeah, like I've
I didn't know that because I had those first two albums, and I don't remember ever seeing your name. I might have, but
I'm not on those. Actually, Mike was in Red Sparowes for a hot minute too. Like
was he?
Yeah, we did I can't remember for sure, but I think it's on the split that we did with Grails, possibly. He played second guitar on that, because that's kind of when we were, after Jeff left, like we were trying to figure out like what to
direction,
do.
Yeah.
But no, like Mike's records are like completely independent. Like he did everything himself. Where it comes in is actually on the 2016 Storm of Light tour.
Mm-hmm.
We asked Mike if he wanted to open for us in Europe, and he's like, I will, but I want you guys to play with me. So Billy and me and Josh from Generation of Vipers, who was playing second guitar for Storm, played with MGR. And then we actually recorded in London on like a day off, like an EP, and that got released, I think, maybe like 3 years ago or something like that. So that's
the nexus there then. Yeah. Okay. Is Mike still active? Because he's cool, man. I know all the ISIS dudes going way back to like 2001, 2003. I was like at every Philly DC show. Right. I think Aaron was like hiding from me at one point. Aaron Turner, that is. But yeah. Aaron and I are good. I've interviewed him as well. But I was just kind of curious, is Mike still active at all? Or
yeah, I think recently released an MGR record. It's now like a different thing. It's like a full band.
Oh wow, okay.
Now on shit. I can't remember the label, but I'll
have to dig around. I just, that was a big part of my life 25 years ago, and then I kind of transitioned more into death metal and black metal and just that kind of stuff like that. And I still cherish the Neurosis. I have the first two Storm of Light albums. But yeah, so Dan, let's get to you, because I don't want to make you just sit here and listen to Josh and I talk the whole time. Tell me a little bit about your history, and I think you and Josh are good friends going way back. What's your history and how you enter the realm of all this that we're talking about?
Well, Josh and I came up together in Phoenix, and just going back, we played music most of our young adult lives, and we kept in contact over the years. And Had just been doing some hardcore stuff and some sort of independent experimenting with black metal, and also sort of like some dungeon ambient and
Okay.
sample based soundscape stuff that I released under the name of Salt of Sulfur. That was around 2020, but I guess rewinding a little more, as that last Storm record was coming out, Josh hit me up and was like, "Hey, would this be something you would want to help me complete writing?" And we need to finish out these couple of songs, and I was like, "Hell yeah!" That's awesome. The timing was right, and shortly after that, that tour came up with Mono in Europe, and it was just a mind-blowing experience. So it's so cool that we've kept in touch over the years, and incredible that.
Are you in the Phoenix area still, or?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys go to school together?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. Nice.
Yeah. So it's incredible to be playing again.
Yeah, it's like that's 35 years of.
Yeah, it's insane, really. Who gets to have that?
That's awesome. Yeah. And you guys just mentioned Mono. I just saw them for the first time twice, opening for Alcest here on the East Coast.
Yeah, nice.
And they were cool, man. And that's a cool build because, Alcest is kind of that dreamy black gaze sort of stuff, and they had Mono doing the more post medley stuff, which I'm only really familiar with the first two Mono albums. I kind of honestly got to say, kind of once you get past those, they all get a little samey for me, just a tiny little bit. No offense to those guys, but I like a little bit more variety. And then they had this really cool Icelandic trio of females called Kilan Mikla opening, and they're kind of like a mix of like Sisters of Mercy with Cocteau Twins, with some really cool like dark ambient dungeony vibes.
Oh, wow.
Really, really trippy stuff, man. I mean, a lot of it, I hate to say it, a lot of it seemed like it was probably on laptop, because there's only three of them. The one was a live bassist, but a lot of cool like Sisters of Mercy, gothy sort of vibey stuff like that. So I don't know if that came out your way yet, Josh, but I know they were in Portland just the other night because my buddy John Halm in Agalock went to see him, and he was sending me pictures of backstage. He's like, "You didn't get to go backstage." Like,
no. Yeah, I think they played here. I think last night or the night before.
Yeah, it might have been last night actually. Yeah. So.
It sucks. We're like from kind of like door to door. We're like 90 minutes from like where.
Okay. So that's a run for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a. Typically, like weekend, like hotel kind of vibe.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow. Holy shit. Tell me a little bit about how Guiltless came together. Now, this is the first full album that you just released. It just came out this past Friday, on Neurot. It's called Teeth to Sky. Really fucking cool stuff, man. I mean, as I said, Josh, I don't want to go down the path of ISIS and Neurosis, but there's. That's the area of music that you've kind of mined the last 25, 30 years. And in the absence of both of those bands, obviously ISIS is no more and hasn't been for quite a while. Neurosis might be done, seemingly. It seems that way. Maybe.
I hope not,
Yeah, I hope not too. But, in talking to Steve, they just aren't feeling it right now. So, this is kind of a really cool... I don't want to say replacement because it's its own thing, but it's a cool vibey thing that kind of fits in that niche pretty well. Tell me how the band came together out of was this out of a pandemic sort of situation, or how did this has it been percolating for a while, I guess?
Well, like Dan and I we tried to do this other project like kind of like in the pandemic, and we spent a lot of time, and like we finished a few songs and then sort of decided that like I don't know, it was like we were bored with it, and
hit that wall. Yeah,
we were like, wow, this is like mediocre. Maybe we don't do that.
A ton of time on that, and
don't you love that when you put a lot of time into writing music and then you go, it's all right.
Yeah, it was
right.
weird.
Yeah, you gotta weed out the tunes, and
then so yeah, like we took time off, and then I have another project called like Ivy, and it's kind of dark soundscape stuff. And Billy was playing drums with me, and we played in Desert Fest in Antwerp, and that was kind of like the first metal shows I had seen since the pandemic started, and I was just like, dude, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
I want to get back out there. Yeah.
Like, I want to play like heavy stuff. And so I talked to Billy about it like when we were in Europe, and then I went home and just like wrote the four bases for like the basic like ideas for like what Thorns turned into. And then
we should mention Thorns is the EP that came out last year. So.
Yeah.
So
like I felt like I needed to sort of establish for myself like what I had in mind, because like with playing with Dan and stuff, like we can play like a lot of different kinds of music. So I think like it's like I needed to kind of sort it out and like figure out, okay, this is what I think I want to do, and then basically approach Dan and Sascha and Billy to see if they wanted to like join this band, but with the idea that if we decided to finish those 4 songs, that like the next thing we did would be like super collaborative, because like I wasn't really interested in doing like another Storm of Light thing where
you were doing
it. Yeah, except for actually like Dan wrote like 2 of the songs on Anthracene. So so like yeah, that's like how it all initially like came together. And then
now, okay, so I envision that you've known Sascha a long time, like bringing him in, because I'm not certain, is Intronaut still a thing or not either, because it's been 5 years since they've done anything.
It's from what I know, it is. He said that they have a lot of stuff written. There used to being, I know there used to being like a in the room band.
Oh, okay.
And they're all super busy. So I think that might be kind of like why it's like moving slowly, but it's my understanding that they're still active.
Yeah, and Sascha has Dunable Guitars now.
Yeah,
so I would imagine that takes up a huge amount of his actual real life time, right? The non-creative time.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's awesome. Like it's cool to watch.
The good news there is cool endorsements, man. Cool endorsements. Just saying, I didn't say that out loud, but you know,
definitely.
But I was kind of curious though, because Josh, you said you're in Seattle now. Dan, you're in Phoenix, or you said Arizona. I don't think you said Phoenix. Maybe I just threw that in.
Phoenix.
And then Sasha's in LA, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Where, and I think Billy's in Nashville. Am I right about that?
Knoxville.
Okay. So you guys are literally, 4 corners kind of sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
So I would imagine it's very hard, or has been hard, to get into a room, like you were saying about Intronaut. Have you done that at all as yet?
Not really. I mean, we collaborated on like parts, like where we were uploading ideas to a Drive folder, and people like pulling ideas down. People were working on them, like uploading them again. So like we were definitely got a lot of collaborative effort out of it, but yeah, not that kind of immediacy with like the room experience.
But so I mean, you guys got some shows coming up, right? And I think you're playing. What are you playing in Toronto? I had it here, now I lost the. Prepare the Ground, right?
Prepare the Ground.
And that's coming up in June, I think.
Yeah, June 1st, I believe.
So when are you guys going to get in a room and rehearse?
Well, before that.
I would imagine a little bit, right?
Yeah. Before that, but we have.
Hey guys, nice to meet you. Let's go hit the stage. Right?
Yeah,
that is an experience. And the first time I met Sascha in a room was like November. We'd just been some Zoom calls, and of course all the file sharing and ideas, which worked out great. But yeah, actually meeting him in person was November, and
Oh wow.
we did the video there in LA, and didn't really get to play music together. You know,
I got the act like you're
we
playing.
Oh, you mimed. Okay, yeah.
mean air guitar on that video. The mean.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. Come on. I mean, that's awesome, you know.
It was super fun. Cool experience. Never
Making
made
the
a video before.
faces and all that cool stuff there.
Yeah.
The metal
Yeah.
faces, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
so okay, yeah. So you did some photo shoots, obviously, because there's photos of the band out there. What? Where are you gonna convene? Have you thought that out yet?
Yeah.
Next week.
Where at?
Oh, yeah, in LA.
Josh?
Oh, in LA. Oh, so does Sascha have a room?
We don't know what's happening with that. They have a room, but they share it with some other bands, and I know from sharing rooms with bands in LA that like the other bands that are paying aren't super excited about somebody else bringing in a different band.
Oh yeah, I would
So
imagine.
we'll see. But yeah, like we play next. Our first show is next Friday, Saturday, Sunday with Coalesce in Kowloon, Walled City, and San Francisco, LA, and Santa Ana.
Oh,
So-
nice.
So we fly to LA next in a week from today, and then
Oh wow.
rehearse on Thursday and play on Friday.
Where are you playing in San Fran?
Rickshaw.
Oh, Rickshaw.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I was just out there in December. I got to see Death Angel for the first time ever. One of their
Oh,
Christmas
shit.
gigs. Yeah.
Hmm.
I went with Craig Cicero and some of the the thrash dudes that I know out there. And the Great American. Have you played there?
Wait.
Great
No,
American.
I've never played there, but I was there with Neurosis many
Oh
times.
man, that's a cool fucking venue. That place was killer.
Yeah, if we could play there ever, that'd be insane.
Yeah, it's I don't know what the capacity is there. Probably
I think it's like
12, maybe 8 to 12 or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. So you're doing the tour with Coalesce. You guys, are you opening or are you?
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta admit, I'm ashamed to say I don't really know Kowloon Wall City. I know the name, but I've never checked them out.
They're fucking killer.
Are they?
Yeah,
Cool
it's like. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
I was just saying it's cool stuff. I was checking them out a couple days ago on Bandcamp. Get a little more familiar with them, but yeah.
In a
really
similar vein to you guys, or in that posty sort of sludge sort of thing, or no?
Not
not
really.
heavy, but definitely post hardcore stuff. I guess I would lump it into that category. But
Okay.
It's like I don't know. Like, have you heard like Codeine at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
The white birch. That record.
No, I don't think I've heard that album.
It's like it's like the Melvins
Oh, okay.
through Codeine, but like with no like distortion. It's like amazingly stripped back. It's so powerful. Like the piecework is like that one is killer.
I'm gonna check them out then, man. I mean, it's like I said, I've heard that name forever. It's just you can't listen to everything.
Yeah.
You try to, but then you get sort of channeled into things that drift away from that. Now, I noted that Kurt Ballou did the production on this, or did he just do the engineering and mixing, or did he produce the album?
Just the mix.
Okay, so you guys self-produced then?
yeah.
Let me ask you this. I've thrown out that term now twice. Post metal, sludge, doom. I know that every artist hates being compartmentalized, okay, to some degree. But in order to, unfortunately, sell product, which to some degree you're in it for that, you know what I mean? You're doing it for you and for the hangs and for the stage performances, but you'd like to shift some units too. It'd be kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
So, because you're putting all this time and energy and money into gear and all that kind of stuff, you got to pay for those things. So what's your take on hearing, like, being compartmentalized in those genres? Like, what do you, both of you, like, what do you feel when you hear that? Does it kind of, you go, yeah, I get it, or is it kind of like, we're not really that, or does it piss you off? I guess is the ultimate thing is like, where do you lie on all that stuff?
To me, I think it's like you say, you have to put it in some genre so it has a sort of circle to work from of, I guess, people who would be interested in that. The post terms, I guess they're a little new as far as genres go, and they're pretty broad. So, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to, is it an accurate description? Maybe not, but I like, I think it's pretty sludgy. I like that sort of, description, and post metal works if, it sets it into a certain area. But yeah, I guess it doesn't bother me that those are.
You guys are old enough now. I'll be 59 at the end of the month, so I'm an old bastard. But I remember very much when there was no genreification of music, and that's really a marketing tool. I mean, the words are created as a marketing tool for guys like me to go, well, like you said, Dan, to kind of narrow down the focus group that might be interested in it. Because let's be honest, if you're listening to Britney Spears all the time or something like that, you're not going to get into Guiltless, pretty much. Yeah. Doubtful, right? You have to be somebody that has eclectic taste that likes a lot of broad things. I'm wearing, Miles Davis, John Coltrane. I love that shit, but I also love, Crimson Glory and Rainbow and Death and all that kind of stuff like that. I'm a weirdo. But the thing is, we have to do it in order to kind of channel the cattle herd in a direction, right? So what's your take on it, Josh? I'm curious how you feel about it, because you've been in this for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the word post has basically been on everything I've done. So like, I think that's like Red Sparrows was post rock, and I don't even, A Storm of Light was post rock, post metal, I guess. I don't know, but like
sludge doom. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was some doom in there. Yeah, doom as a descriptor. I feel like Guiltless definitely fits sludge and doom better. But I think like Dan's like kind of what he brings to the table was like very not in that realm, which is cool. And I think that like the songs that like he started kind of push it out of like that post label as being like accurate. But yeah, I don't know. I noticed like on Apple Music we're classified as death metal, black metal, and then I was trying to write them because we're Neurot. We were trying to figure out like how to get that changed, and there are like 4 classifications. It's like heavy metal, hair metal, death metal, black metal. That's it.
Well, looking at the collective hair on all 4 of you guys are definitely hair metal. You're definitely hair metal.
Yeah. I was like, that's it, really. All right.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Holy narrow.
Yeah.
There's no black metal here. I'm sorry to report. There's really no black metal here.
I mean, I would say like the closest it comes is in Starless Rain, and that's kind of like you're playing like some more like 16th notes, but like the rest of us are dooming it.
Yeah, which happens to be my favorite song on the album, In Starless Rain. That I love that riff. Down, 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 down. That's one of those. That's one of those ones where at the show you're just you're in it hard. So that one I really love. I love Lone Blue Veil, which is probably the most ISIS-y in a way. In fact, your vocals even kind of vibe a little bit with what Aaron would kind of.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, just a little.
And Starless Rain is Dan wrote like the majority of that, and then Sascha wrote. Actually, he wrote most of the parts in that song, and I wasn't entirely sure that like I wanted to do any sort of clean vocals, and he had written this part that was these like 2 guitar parts that were like harmonizing off of each other, and Dan and I were like trying to figure out like how to incorporate stuff, and like what we didn't want to do is go like single string, like go into like the ISIS Neurosis territory of like, okay, now the bass is going to carry it, and like the guitars are going to be pretty or something. So
Oh, right. Yeah.
so I actually took his like harmony idea and like took it and just turned it into vocals. And so that was kind of like interesting, like unexpected.
Yeah, that's the only point where I was like, okay, that's very Aaron Turner-ish. It's very In Fiction or something like that. Just has that vibe to your voice. I think that would be, anybody that knows that music would be like, oh yeah, that's an earmark there. But I do that shit. It annoys the hell out of people. Sorry, it's just like, oh yeah, that sounds a lot like, and that sounds like, and that sounds like. But there's only 12 notes, so it's kind of hard to.
Yeah. No, I was with those guys a lot for that record. I directed a video for In Fiction on that record, and
did you do the DVD, the eye thing?
No.
What was it called? I could have swore you did that.
ISIS?
Yeah, ISIS did it live. It was a whole bunch of. It was a whole collective. It was like three DVDs or something. I can't remember the damn name of it.
No.
Clearing the Eye? No.
No.
No, that wasn't you? Okay. Dan, I think Josh is trying to imply you bring a lot of the punk energy to the band. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think I definitely came at it from, Josh and I are both huge Discharge fans, and that's something that kind of stuck as far as like an influence of what that music should be. But hearing that in the context of this band would be just way slower. So I remember saying, well, what if we had these kind of D beat riffs that were just like way slow, like really slow. And that was kind of some of the inspiration for a few of the riffs on the record. Just approach it from, 3 notes that are just slow and maybe ascending in succession, repetitive to just kind of drive it home. But yeah, there's definitely that influence in there. It was a big part of I listen to punk music all the time still, and I'm sure everyone in the band does.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for sure.
What kind of stuff are you guys listening to currently? I'm kind of curious, just to see what's on your playlist of the last couple weeks or something like that.
I actually made a playlist on our Spotify today.
Did you really?
Yeah. And we kind of had some emails, but if you don't mind, Dan, I can like run through.
Yeah, go ahead. Looking at my downloads here.
I'm just curious because Josh, I get the feeling from you, you cast a pretty wide net like I do, and that you're into some out there stuff.
Yeah, I listen to like a lot of weird shit. I was trying to keep it like somewhat within like the realm of stuff on here, but actually, like I just found I was at Steve on Till's house a couple weeks ago, and
oh yeah,
we were checking music out, and we found this band. It's called HO9909, but it's like horror. It's from Brooklyn.
Yeah,
I have heard of them.
Dude, it's fucking awesome. It's like it's like hip hop, like it's like super fucked up hip hop, like versus like Bad Brains, and not every record, but like I think I listened to the newest one, and I think it might be a little more straightforward. But that band, Glassing, been checking out Big Brave, Coil Guns, Great Falls, Kowloon Walled City, that Body Disfig record, the new Generation of Vipers, which is Billy's other band, which is Guilt Shrine, which is killer, Neurot, Lifeless Birth.
Oh man, they opened for Death Angel when I saw them.
Shit, no way.
Fuck, they rip. I was hanging out with Sonny. It's such
I know Sonny from Red Sparowes and Saviors toured together. Strangely.
Oh really? Oh cool, man. Yeah, he's fucking rad. He was super cool, man.
Yeah. Wretched Blessing. That shit's awesome, Dan. Like, yeah, I was listening to it today. Yeah, I guess that kind of sums Insect Arc.
Oh wow. Okay, I know them. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I recognize like 3 names of bands you just talked about. So I got some work ahead of me to go check stuff out. You know how it is. You get on Bandcamp or you get on hell, even YouTube or whatever, man. Spotify. I don't really use Spotify, to be honest with you. I don't want to give that dude any money, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's like I worked in a record store in the '90s for like 5 years, and I was an independent music buyer, and like finding music was amazingly easy. And now I live in like a small town, like outside of Seattle, and I mean, I'm not gonna find shit. So
right in the stores, yeah.
Spotify sucks, but it's also like I can't. The amount of stuff I found on it that like I just would never have any exposure to is pretty crazy.
Massive, yeah. What do you guys think of the fact that with the digital age, can't talk there, digital age, there's been like an explosion of music. I mean, now you can make, if you have one of these things right here and a DAW, and you're a little bit smart, like smarter than me, you can figure out how to make music. Do you guys think there's too much out there? I mean, sometimes I feel like there's just too fucking much.
It does get a little bit hard to wade through or mine through. So like I've been getting on Bandcamp, and I'll find something I know, and it's like either the artist recommends or their
comments and the people
comments
commenting
or their the Bandcamp recommendations are pretty good, pretty accurate. I found some amazing stuff on there, but it takes some time, like an hour of going through, and but yeah, I found all kinds of cool stuff there. The thing about Spotify and digital music is like Josh mentioned, it's that double-edged sword of both, like we're going to listen to songs now instead of complete albums. Like that bothers me, because every record you held at a gatefold, you read the lyrics, and it was an experience from the first song to the last song. They were laid out in an order that was intentional. And when you're just getting like 1 or 2 songs, that's bad. And then like listening to music on your phone is probably like
awful,
the worst possible way.
Through earbuds that are blowing out your eardrums. Yeah,
like it's we've all done it. Like, here, check out this band. Yeah, but it's like just coming out of your phone. It's just terrible.
Well, are you guys, if you don't mind me asking, you guys in your 40s, or have you hit the 50 range yet? Probably not, right?
50, yeah, 50.
50. Josh, you're in your mid to late 40s.
I just turned 51.
Oh, you turned 51. Okay, so we're all in our 50s.
Yeah.
So we know what it was like to not know a fucking thing about an album until you walked into the record store and saw the artwork and went, like, that is fucking badass looking. It has to be good. Right?
Yeah. I bought shit out of like Thrasher and like junior high, like that. I was like, oh, sick,
man, you go into the import section at your if you had, like, I had a pretty cool metal store here, and the import section was crazy expensive. Like an album, a CD or an album back then was like $22. Shit, that's what everything costs now. It's like insane. Yeah. But you go in there and you go, like, I remember, I'm also a prog nerd too, so I'll never forget 11th grade walking into Sam Goody at the mall and seeing Marillion's Script for a Jester's Tear. I'm like, that fucking rules. That's going home with me. One of my favorite albums of all time.
What a great experience. I think
or Rush, Power Windows, or what. And it's like that shit is so lost on young people today.
Yeah, you cannot have that experience. It's
sad.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with digital, I mean, a lot of people are more empowered to be creative, which I think is cool.
True.
But it is insane to get to weed through it and to stand out from it. I mean, even because like, I'm sure that kids that may find our band who knows how they're going to find it or whatever, but yeah, it's a weird, I don't think it's going to do anything except for keep getting broader and like more. So it's
yeah. And it also brings, you said it enables creative people to have an avenue to, which is the good side of it. The bad side of it is it also creates the avenue for a lot of really average, shitty music to be out there. And Dan, you said an hour on Bandcamp. Holy fuck! If only I could spend 1 hour on there when I start.
know. It'd be like 9 o'clock, and I'll download. Like I got on a grindcore kick like last week. You know?
Wow.
A bunch of Chilean stuff. Like you would never find that. And
Nice.
But that is the good side of it, in that the
yeah,
accessibility of it now is crazy, because like Josh said, in his record store there, he's not going to run into 90% of this stuff that's out there. I'm lucky because I live near Philly, Baltimore, New York, if I really want to make that run. But I mean, I've always got stores I can find stuff. And then of course, with that's because there, I was just down, like I said, I just went to see Coroner on Thursday night in Baltimore.
Nice.
And I went over to Soundgarden, which is the really cool record store there.
Oh, wow.
Which is always dangerous. And I was thankful I only had like a half hour, because I ate, went to the store, and I'm like, I got to get to the venue because it was sold out actually. So it was like, I got to get there. I'm short, so I don't want to be behind the trees, And I went in there, and right away I'm like, oh fuck, oh no. I'm like, just pick two things and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got an old Uriah Heep album and Green Carnation. It was like, just kind of like, all right, I'll try these,
Because you're looking up on the walls at the collectible stuff, right? Like,
oh yeah, up on the walls. I didn't even look.
Guys go to.
There's box sets in there for like $500. I'm like, don't even look, man. Don't look, But that nothing, again, like we were talking about the old way of releasing music, nothing replaces that feeling of going into a record store and just flipping through albums, or even if you're not an album guy and you're more of a CD guy, just going through to see what kind of shit you run into, that crate digging thing. It's like, it's like a high, it's seriously like you get a high from it,
Yeah. That takes some time too. So you do almost dedicate like part of a day to it.
You do. Definitely do, for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, Dan.
Oh yeah, no, I went to. We have some Zia record stores here that, the used stuff is really what you're kind of looking at, and there's collectible stuff up on the counter. So I'll go through there, and I do see people, still looking around and stuff like that. So that's cool. Hopefully that's, getting to be more popular, and that experience that we're talking about is still out there.
Well, that's, what though, you bring up another point though. Now with the internet and Discogs, every record store that maybe 7-8 years ago had no clue what they were bringing in, maybe 10 years ago. Now all of them bring in, it's like, top
dollar
first edition of Burzum. Well, we know that's going to go for like $2,000 or $5,000 or whatever that would be. And you're like, you can't run into that shit anymore where you're like, holy fuck, $5 for this? Oh yeah, score. You know what I mean? Yeah. So third world problems, right? First world problems. Speaking of that, let's talk a little bit real quick here. I'll get you out of here shortly. Let's talk a little bit about the lyrical content. Obviously, I don't have the album yet, but I've been listening to it on Brooklyn Vegan. They were streaming it, and I don't have any access to the lyrics, but I could make out enough to kind of get, the gist of some things. The one that really stuck out to me was "Into Dust Becoming," was the line, "Are we really alive? Were we really alive, or are we really alive?" That was a striking kind of thing. Tell me a little bit about that track, and maybe pick a couple other tracks that you want to go into just a little bit of the lyrical content about. Because I saw another interview with you, Josh, and you were, I think you said something to the effect, yeah, we wanted to add a little tiny positivity to this album because everything else is just fucking apocalyptic and boom. And it's like, and like, look, let's be honest, man. Look the fuck around at our country right now, man. I mean, we won't go political here, okay? You and I very much agree, Josh. I know that for a fact. And Dan, I don't know where you stand on the spectrum, but I can make an assumption you're probably in the same vehicle with us. But you look around right now, what is there really to hope about? What's out there to have hope about? in a lot of ways, you know?
Yeah, it's intense, man.
I mean, I have kids. I don't know, Josh. I don't think you have kids. I think you said
I
you
know,
don't have
yeah.
kids. Dan, you have kids?
I do. I have a daughter. She's 25.
Yeah,
and
same as me.
Just starting out. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Just starting out life. About to graduate college. And
yeah. I have a 27-year-old and a 29-year-old. Now, luckily, both of them did okay. My oldest has done a little better. My youngest is more a musician, more the artsy one, and she got a degree that really, honestly, it's not going to really serve her well. But she's got a pretty good job right now. She's got a great partner.
Cool.
But man, just looking around at this world right now, in particular right now, it's fucked. It's fucked. Let's be honest, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
It is seemingly hopeless, but try to have hope, I guess, that people will be like, no more of this. Like let's do what's best for the whole here.
Yeah, but
That's my hope anyway.
but sadly, there's at least half this country that doesn't feel anywhere remotely that way, and that's disturbing. That's disturbing.
Yeah,
that is the depressing part of it.
Yeah. Well, Josh, we cut you off on talking about the lyrics, so tell us all about the cheer that are within Guiltless lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, like the Thorns EP is like definitely the most nihilistic stuff I've ever written, and I don't know, not quite sure. Like I mean, it got like so dark that there's like a Jim Jarmusch reference in there that is like just like some point of like levity, but like we were kind of like working with just my dummy vocals like for the majority of the writing process, and I was trying to figure out like what the hell to like write, and sort of started to feel like the country was probably going to shift again, and like I'm in a Storm of Light like had some real heady political content, especially on Anthracene, and I didn't want to think about that shit. Like I just didn't. It's just like it's too depressing. Like at a certain point,
Dude, it's exhausting. It's
and like
exhausting is what it is.
Yeah, and like a good friend of mine, who's a scientist in Ecuador, it was like he was like, yeah, that was like the best time I had being depressed listening to an album, and I was like, that kind of like obviously like it stuck with me like fucking 7 years later, and I was like, I'm like, all right, there's got to be like something more that I can like throw into this thing then is just like complete like annihilation. Like we're already like living in like what feels like that. Like so like it's at a certain point you're like, and like I don't want to sing about like witches and dragons, like which is cool, but like
banging chicks. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, like,
no Guiltless songs about banging chicks, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fucking partying backstage. That'd be amazing.
Hell yeah.
Hookers and cocaine. No, none of that in Guiltless. Wow,
shit, yeah.
You guys are kind of lame, man. Just saying.
Boring. But so like it was like comparatively to like what's happening in a lot of the world, especially like Palestine, like and like where like they're just getting annihilated. It's like we have pretty good lives. Like
yeah, we do.
Like we can drive our car. Like
for now,
we go to the grocery store. Yeah. So like we have houses that we live in that are like nice and like how like
electricity, running water.
Water. Yeah. Like let's like just try to take like some like aspect of like some of the lyrics and like actually just like acknowledge that, because like I don't know, like at a certain point it becomes pretty like, I mean, metal like can inherently be negative, but like I think that it's kind of interesting to try to push it to where it doesn't have to be completely like just soul sucking. Like that Sun record, like Life Metal, like I always kind of liked that idea. That's
one I don't know of theirs. I know all the other stuff, but I missed that one. I know what you're talking about. That's like their Up Sunshiny record, right?
I haven't even heard it, but like I always liked the idea that like those guys, because like would do that. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like they're just kind of like, fuck it, like we're gonna do something that is not not what we're known for or whatever. And,
yeah, so nihilistic, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and the lyrics, it's funny because like when I think about the lyrics, like I think of them as like having like a spark of hope in it, which is something I've always kind of avoided in the past and sort of celebrated the like demise of humanity in a way. Like, but like now that like it feels like, you know, that like we're actually
there,
like, living in part of it. Like
yeah.
it just, you're just like beating a dead horse, really. So,
Well, what of the songs, the new ones, not the old EP, which would you say is probably your most happy up, lyrically speaking?
I mean, probably like Into Dust Becoming,
Okay.
which is
And
also,
then it's all fucking downhill from there.
which is also like you're dying, you know, like, so I mean, it's also kind of, it's, you're like accepting the fact that like you have a limited amount of time here and like try to live a good life and just like utilize like everything you have. And like if you're like us in the first world, like just be thankful for like what you actually do have and try to not be an asshole.
Oh Jesus! Oh man, very hard sell for most people.
Yeah,
To be honest here, but
so like there, I think a lot of it like rides that line, but like it is, there's also like the bleakness, but I think that like also sort of represents like where we're at, like Landscape of Thorns. It has elements of, you know, like is this like a legacy that like we have to leave, or can we like actually
change things or make it better,
change it before it is too late, you know?
Tell me a little bit about this artwork. I'm assuming it's you, right?
Yeah.
As again, I don't have any liner notes for that. Very well, I wouldn't exactly say up. I would say very dystopian in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I would kind of say very Metropolis, very almost that just has the vibe of like a silent film visual that you would see from the 20s, like maybe, you know, the post-impressionist type Germany type look. Tell me a little bit about what that signifies and what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, or
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of, dude.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So I created the icon for Thorns, and that is based on the concept of nuclear semiotics, which is a group of scientists from starting like I think in the 80s, trying to, and that's actually what Landscape of Thorns, the song, is about. Is
okay,
they're trying to figure out how to communicate to future generations of humans like 10,000 years into the future without any use of written language, because it won't be the same languages by that time. So they're trying to basically create architecture that they're calling like menacing earthworks that will surpass all the like the continual sort of birth and rebirth, or death and rebirth of the civilization, to communicate that like certain parts of the land are still contaminated with like nuclear waste.
You know what else this is evocative of, and you guys should, given your age, you should know this. Am I gonna fuck this up? Hold on, I gotta double check the name of the second movie. Hang on, you'll get it right away, I believe, or maybe you'll think I'm stupid. Here, I want to get Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah,
the second one where Taylor goes down, or Taylor. No, is it Taylor? Yeah, Taylor goes down looking for Heston. They have some imagery that's kind of like that in the underground thing. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, check that out. If you ever get a chance to watch that movie again, there's some imagery like that, like the place where the stand, I guess you would call it, or the shrine to the nuclear warhead, which is buried there, that they worship. Remember, they worship that, and which is weird because you bring up the nuclear thing, and that made me think, oh, that's where I've seen something. It doesn't look like that, but it has that vibe. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's cool.
Yeah. Check that out if you get a chance. Just one night hanging out, throw that movie in on Hulu or something
Yeah.
like that. It's
Yeah.
that's my favorite one.
Yeah, I'll definitely look at it. That's
Yeah, for sure.
So I created the icon, and then our idea right now is that like every cover will have that icon in some various kind of form.
Okay.
So this actually, I was actually talking with Steve just about like art and stuff, and we were talking about Johan Johansson's "The First and the Last Men," which is like was a composer. He died, but he did like Mandy soundtrack, which with
okay, yes,
with Stephen O'Malley from Sun.
from Sun, yeah.
But The First and the Last Men has like a lot of sort of found footage, and it's there's these communist sculpture like weird shrines in like Bulgaria and like way out there that are called spomeniks, and they kind of have a similar vibe to this, where they're like brutalist concrete architecture, and so that was kind of my idea for this record, for this icon, was to sort of try to build what was designed as just like a spray paint kind of logo, and actually turn it into something that looked like it was real, like made out of concrete.
Yeah, it's now I'm assuming that the landscape, is that a real photo that you superimposed this on, or is that actually some sort of computer generated sort of image?
This is entirely 3D, which is the first cover that I've done like that. So,
wow, what are you using to do that?
It's called Cinema 4D, and I've been using it forever. Like it's on some like in pieces. It's on like covers like Shrinebuilder, but like
I love that. I love that fucking artwork on that.
Oh, thanks. So like the pyramid in Shrinebuilder is cinema, but you're right. Like all the surrounding imagery is real photographs. So
okay,
like within the last like 10 years, there's a renderer called Redshift with cinema, where like it actually bounces light around, and like it's capable of like making stuff that is virtually photoreal or photoreal, depending on like, I mean it was an undertaking, but yeah, so like we had to make these kind of alternate covers for the Spotify like singles or whatever. So there's a couple different lit like versions of them, like where the sun's in the background or it's at night. So it's pretty cool. It's the first time
it's very iconic. It's very sparse, which is cool.
Yeah,
I love artwork that's crazy too, but this one grabs you in a different way, as opposed to like a Marillion script for a Jester's Tear, which is all colors and lots of detail. This is very evocative of that nothingness, maybe,
yeah, cool.
Like that's how I would phrase it. Couple quickies here. What do you guys tune to?
It's wacky.
So you don't use a standard tuning detuned then?
No, not exactly. It's
what would the standard one be? If it was based on like would it be?
Yeah, like for example, this is in D standard right here.
It might.
So instead of E, you're D, D sharp, E.
D. So a lot of our songs are in G, like low G, G, C, F, A, C. So the top four are close to D standard.
Okay.
And we change those two. We use CG, CFAC. So sometimes we have that unison sort of sound going, and then other times
the Chinese strings, you get the unison chiminess,
like heavy unison, and then you hear standard power chords on the other parts.
So then I would assume, what string gauges are you guys using, man? Like 56s or what?
This band's 68.
What's that?
Keep going.
You're using 70, right?
Holy fuck, dude! That's like bass strings, man.
Well, because like on Starless, those 16th notes on something that low, you need that tension to.
Yeah, because you get flappy. Yeah.
Yeah. I have, and I need to ask Sascha about this probably like next week, but because we used the Dunables on the video, and because so we're using like baritone sets, but we're using them on standard guitars, so it makes it like they're really fucking tight. But
Yeah.
I think if you move the bridge back, that you can have lower tunings and you don't have to go that big of a gain.
I think that Les Paul scale makes it tricky to get the tension.
Yeah, because I have an SG, and but I felt like Sasha's were like they were at that level of tuning, but like I wasn't super focused on the guitar like because we were doing the video, but yeah.
So Josh, you play an SG typically?
Yeah.
Live? What and in the studio? What do you play, Dan?
A Les Paul.
Oh, you do play a Les Paul then? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want Dunables, but
yeah.
we're
Custom Dunables with
You
logos.
got to take a little bit more sweet talking. Just
yeah.
Hey, Sascha, you want to go up front for this track? That's cool. But hey, about that Dunable there.
Yeah, right.
What last two things here. What so if I take it right, you did all this virtually with recording this album essentially. So when you did that, you're doing in your own home studios. What are you using Logic? Are you using Cubase? What are you using to do that?
It's all different.
Everybody had different formats, dolls.
Actually, you and
a couple
Ableton.
Yeah.
Oh, Ableton.
A couple Ableton users. Not sure what Sascha was using.
Sascha's Logic and I'm Pro Tools.
Okay.
Is there a lot of integration issues there at all? Like latency or anything, or is it all pretty integrated now? I'm not very good. I have Logic, but I'm still trying to figure out if I'm smart enough to use it. So
actually, yeah, there was latency issues between Pro Tools and Logic are perfect. Pro Tools to Ableton, there's like a latency issue, but we did figure out that like if I exported MIDI tempo maps, then you imported the MIDI tempo map, that like there was no latency. So it's like Ableton doesn't have, it has like a minimum time amount, where Pro Tools is like it can go infinitely smaller.
Okay.
It's like a locking. It's like almost like a video frame. I don't know. Is it like a 64th or like 128 or something? Like
wow.
Yeah, it was off by. I mean, during the writing process, it does make it tricky. You'll get stems or like literally have to drag them around where they're locking in with the
locking in. Yeah.
On the sessions, we'd have the MIDI maps that lock everything in, and thankfully that worked between Pro Tools and Ableton to allow us to complete that stuff.
Did Billy? Did he go to a studio in Nashville, or does he have his own thing?
Actually, no, he recorded with Travis Kammeyer from Generation of Vipers.
Oh, okay.
He has a studio in Johnson City, Tennessee, and he recorded the drums for this. He also recorded A Storm of Light, Nations to Flames. And Kurt will send him like mixes when he's too busy. He's a stellar engineer. I wish he was like doing that full time, but he kind
Billy or Kurt?
Travis.
Oh, Travis. I'm sorry.
I mean, Kurt, obviously, yeah, but Travis he's like the sounds he gets are so good. So
now the guitar sounds on this album, I have to ask, is this plugins or is this actually mic and cabs or what? Or a mix or what?
We enabled Kurt to do reamping. I'm not entirely sure if he did it or not. Like, I didn't ask, but we tracked. Actually, so we did, because we recorded for reamping. So we tracked everything, went through my Mark IV here at the end. But as far as the cab, that we were using the 2 Notes Captor X thing, which it was okay. I don't think I.
Oh, so are you using a Mesa?
Yeah.
Okay, Mark IV.
Yeah.
That's a good amp, man. Good
yeah,
amp.
I've had the same amp for like 23 years.
Can't go wrong with that shit. That's That's vicious stuff. It doesn't, but the weird thing about your guitar tone is it doesn't necessarily sound like a Mesa.
Well, we're using actually like I as much as I love like the Mesa Overdrive, like I from touring so much, especially in Europe, like I had to get out of using it because we'd fly into like Greece or like wherever, and like they'd have a Mark IV, they wouldn't have a Mark IV, and like then my distortion tone would be like just like totally wrong. So I started using pedals. And
Oh, okay.
so,
What do you use for that? What's your go-to stuff?
So we're for this band we're using Nunez Tetrafet, which is Jonathan from Torch.
Oh yeah,
it really has like it's really I'm excited to actually play with it live because we haven't done it yet. But it's like it's super distorted, but like also really clear, and the low end is extremely tight, and the feedback is actually really seems to be controllable. But I think we'll find out for sure like next week when we're at full volume.
Dan, you're all fighting over each other to figure out get that mix. How about you, Dan? Do you go with a lot of analog pedals too, or you digital or what? Okay.
Yeah, this kind of for the same reasons. It's I've always just liked using a Fender Twin and with pedals, and just that platform of that Fender Bassman type of thing is, or as close as you can get to that, is ideal for me.
No, you get those great clean tones off the Fender Twin too, man.
Yeah, if anything
Unbeatable.
clean is Fender's the best for that, in my opinion. But
yeah,
but so for the pedal platform too, though, it's great. And the Mesa is, a killer emulation of Fender Bassman, really. So that channel works awesome for that, and that's pretty much where I'm parked at. I'm also using the Nunez Vet Drive too, so our tones are very similar that way, and that makes things easy too for recording long distance. Is like dialing it in, like
Yeah, you don't have these
way.
massive shifts. Yeah,
some sort of benchmark to work from, and I think that's going to help live too. So we've gotten so familiar with this, same gear that Josh and I have many of the same pedals that way. So
you guys don't do a lot of solos in these songs. They're not not a lot. There's not a lot of standout like shreddy bits or anything like that, obviously. But how will you divvy those up live, the ones that are there?
I think there's only one, right?
Is there only one?
there's a couple.
Oh no, you're doing
Fill type solos, yeah.
Well,
not actual like traditional solo, but there are some single note, just sort of I guess that to separate one part from the other in a bridge, like in Radiant Glow, there's some couple single notes there. And I was using a boost pedal to do those. I'm not planning to take a boost pedal rather live, so I'm just hoping for that pure gain through a real cabinet to carry me, which I think is going to work out because it sounded pretty good here that way. So yeah.
Well, it's a killer album, guys. Again, Teeth to Sky came out this past Friday on Neurot. All the links are in the description. There's tons of links there to Bandcamp, to Facebook, all that good stuff. Neurot, obviously, and I would imagine it's coming out on a couple different formats of vinyl variants, right? And then also CD.
Yeah, right now it's just the first pressing is black eco vinyl. So
okay. Oh, there is just one. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, it's a fairly small pressing, so we'll see. Hopefully it gets to the point where we can do like something that's a little more.
Will there be CDs too?
Yeah, there are CDs.
And again, you want to reiterate your live dates here? You want to run those down quick again? Do you remember them?
Yeah, it's March. Is it? Oh yeah, 21st, San Francisco Rickshaw Shop, and 22nd, Santa Ana, Orange County at the Observatory, and then 23rd in Los Angeles at the Paramount, and then with Coalesce and Calvin Walled City.
And then you have Prepare the Ground in Toronto, is it?
Yeah, Prepare the Ground, Toronto. We're playing there May 31st, and then we're also doing. It hasn't been announced yet, but we're doing some semblance of the East Coast with Generation of Vipers, and then Chicago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
cool.
it
Well,
should be.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it should be Chicago, Montreal, Boston, Brooklyn. We don't know what's going on with Philly. Like
Dude, Philly, something fucking weird's going on in Philly, man, because we just are not getting a lot of heavy shows. We're getting a lot of weird shit. There's venues. I mean, there's Underground Arts there. There's Union Transfer. There's the Trock's gone. And TLA doesn't seem to bring any metal type stuff in. I think Kerry King played there back in February, but that's usually it's hip hop, that kind of stuff like that. And then, which you couldn't, no offense, you couldn't play the Fillmore yet. That's 2,500 people.
Yeah, so. The TLA is even too big for us, but
yeah, I'm trying to remember what the TLA is, about 12 maybe.
Yeah,
in that range, or 1,000 or something like that. But there's smaller venues like Milk Boy's kind of really small. Johnny Brenda's you guys could easily play Johnny Brenda's. I saw 150 there. I just saw Corner there, dude. So I mean,
oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah, and Deceased opened for him, so it was pretty tight. It was pretty full in there. So yeah, I don't know if you got anybody that could reach out to anybody. I think the problem in Philly right now, from what I'm gathering from a little bit of my my feelers out there, because I do know quite a lot of people in the music biz, is that there's Dave Kiss is one guy that you might want to reach out to if you want to see if you can grab a Philly show. Dave Kiss, just look up Dave Kiss promoter. I don't know what his thing is, but I think there was bigger promoters there that just have dipped out, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is. Baltimore, there's a couple really good places that you can probably lock in. DC too.
Yeah, hopefully, like I know, like I've played like Kung Fu Necktie like a few times, and
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully.
I just saw my buddy Craig plays with Handsome Dick Manitoba. You know him?
Oh yeah,
from the
Dictators.
Yeah, so I went to see them at the beginning of February. Man, that was a fucking great show. And I'm not really a punk guy, I'll admit. I kind of I was a little beyond it when it came. I do like the Bad Brains, Cro-Mags a little. I like that first Cro-Mags album. I like the first Agnostic album. Yeah. But I'm just not really a punk dude. I guess I'm just too much of a lame ass to be that guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old now too, but it's like that was a fucking fun gig, man. I mean, and he's 70 years old up there doing that.
That guy's awesome. Yeah. He has a bar in the Lower East Side. We used to go there all the time when I lived in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. He's awesome.
A fun dude, man. He was a trip, But yeah, so last thing before we wrap up here was I was reading an interview that you did. It looks like it's before Biden was still president, so it looks like it's a while back. I didn't really let me see if I see a date on it here. Oh, 21, so it's quite a while back.
Oh shit.
On Veil of Sound. But I noted you went through, Josh, this is in particular for you. But obviously, Dan, if you know the album, you can speak up too. But you were going through a bunch of the stuff that is influential to you and that you've been listening to. And one of the things that jumped out at me was Oranzi Pazuzu.
Oh yeah,
what do you think of that? What do you think of that new album? Well, last year's album. Did you check that out?
Shit, I don't think I've
Metajoya or Metajuj. It's I don't know what it is.
I don't think I've
Polish
fully ingested it yet, but like the first time I heard them, A Storm of Light, we got booked in Helsinki in this club that was way fucking too big. Like we should have been in some 250 cap room, and where we played, we ended up playing 5 years later with Converge and Touche Amore, and so this place was fucking huge. And Oranzi Pazuzu, we'd never heard of them. They opened for us. There were I don't know, 150 people there or something like that. And but I just remember them playing, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" It was like I went out like and watched like the whole set. And I was like talked to them a little bit, but yeah, I fucking love that band. Like
I saw them at MDF. Man, it's got to be 6 years ago, maybe 5, 6. It was pre-pandemic. Totally fucking mind trip stuff.
yeah,
You know, mixing black metal with electronica, with tribal, with jazz. I mean, they're just so fucked up. But the new album, the 24 album, I think it came out in October or November. Begins with an M. Check that out, dude. It's wicked, man. It was my number 4 album of the year. It's just brutal electronica with some of the darkest, most fucked up shit. It's like if Aphex Twin was taking acid and decided to reissue like a Mayhem album or like Mayhem. Yeah,
that sounds insane.
It's wicked stuff. So if you haven't checked that out, I wanted to see if you knew it, but if you haven't,
I don't think I must have not heard it yet.
Check that one out. Well, guys, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you dudes. Really cool interview. I appreciate the time you gave me tonight, and
thanks for having me.
Hopefully if you get out on the East Coast, I'll get out to a show and catch you guys. And good luck on the shows that you got coming up. Good luck on the album. It's very good. People that are watching, you should go check it out. If you like Neurosis and Isis, you'll love this. Just don't tell them. Right? But it's in that vein. But it's got its own magic, man. There's something really cool here because not a lot of bands are really doing this right now like they were 10, 15 years ago. So it's a good, for me, it was a good, I was in the Wayback Machine a little bit. I was like, this is, yeah. And I will say this, it's not an immediate album in that it doesn't, there's not hooks all over the place. You have to really work into it a little bit and give it at least 2 spins until you start going, oh yeah, that part right there. Oh yeah, that part right there. And then it coalesces into something. The whole is bigger than the parts, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, but yeah, great to meet you guys. Hopefully we get a chance to run into each other somewhere out on the road there, and good luck on these shows then, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, man. And let me know. What I do is I usually send the link then to Dave. Your split. And he can send it on to you, and if you guys want to use it and post it anywhere you want.
Cool.
Totally up to you, man.
Yeah. Well, definitely.
I really appreciate this.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Great meeting you guys. All right.
Likewise.
Have